Hey, it's Diana, the Midnight Rose. Still continuing all the hectic week and just trying to figure out how to get everything done in my schedule. So this is very impromptu, and I'm going to be relying on notes I made just to let you know. But it's so important to talk about Mars opposing Pluto. It is going exact tomorrow, but we're still going to feel it for about a week or so afterwards. So, we feel transits when they're coming up to it, then they go exact, and then when they're separating after they pass that point, we're still going to feel it. So, having said that, so think about this for a minute. Mars, which I know very well, Mars, Sun, and Aries. I probably shouldn't admit that to anybody. But so Mars is like action, drive, assertiveness, competitiveness. And Pluto is deep transformation, power, subconscious control, and can be a little uncomfortable. Well, both of them can be a little uncomfortable because when you really think about it, in modern astrology, Pluto symbolizes Scorpio. But being a Hellenistic astrologer, Scorpio is also ruled by Mars. It's like having a, a Mars that maybe could be kind of protective and noble, with a Mars that is like, "Hmm, well, you didn't change when I tried to tell you that, so now I'm going to make you change." No, I just came just came off of my tarot call that I do with somebody with Christiana, and my card was the Tower. Mm-hmm. Could that be a little more appropriate for Mars and Pluto opposing, especially when I have so much Mars in my chart? Yeah, rhetorical. So when you put these two planets opposing each other, as with all oppositions, they're going to create a tension. Tension is not always a bad thing. It makes life harder, but sometimes good things come out of it. This time, maybe not so much, unless you figure out how to handle it, which we'll get into. You could have power struggles, difficulty controlling your temper, saith the person who has difficulties controlling their temper. It's my chart, y'all. I mean, you have Mars and Sun in Aries, and you see how you control your temper. And I have a lot of Mars in my chart. I also have my Moon in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars. It's like, and even other things. It's like, But anyway, so this transition is probably going to challenge people to confront their motivations and the ways they exert control or respond to authority. So you want to kind of be aware if you're feeling like you're gonna like totally go off on people, which I think we all feel about every day, but really assessing how you react when something makes you angry, um, and just how you confront individuals. So, now on a broader scope, globally, there's going to be, there could be, not going to be, there's going to be, but we never know. So, we will probably see a peak in a lot of social unrest, political tension, shifts in power, which is pretty much every day in this year and for the next 3 years, barring something happening. But historically, when we have this alignment, there's usually significant events that challenge existing power structure, authority figures, um, which in this case is not an entirely bad thing. I think we can all figure out. I think we all know, anybody who's watched me kind of knows where I am politically. But speaking of which, there are two very prominent people who have a very prominent Mars, which I do too, God help me. But one is the official leader of a certain country who has a very prominent Mars in his chart. So, oh, please, God, please let it happen. I just won't even mention what many of us are hoping for. It's like, oh, come on. When is this going to happen? Oh, Lordy. But there's also the unofficial president who likes to wear t-shirts that say Occupy Mars. And actually, he has really been experiencing a transformation, this Pluto Mars opposite, which is kind of interesting. In his chart, he has Mars conjunct the North Node in the eighth house. So he's reaching for North Node, you're kind of reaching for things. He's really obsessed with Mars and eighth house. He's using other people's resources to try to build that dream. Because if you think about it, and I am convinced that he wants to have more money in a certain government to give him more contracts and support his dream to get to Mars. He really wants to get his hands on that money, which is why he is so gung ho with his little chainsaw, his his pseudo penis. Oh, someone has little dick syndrome. Okay, you know what I mean? Just saying. So that's another one. He is supposedly stepping down from Joj. His little feelings got hurt. And yeah, so that problem should kind of resolve. I think he's sort of feeling that transformation in that Pluto opposition. I don't even know what's going on with the official one. You never know from day to day. So, but we will probably see it in other areas of the world too. Of course, we aren't the only country on the planet. So we've just seen Russia bombing Kiev, doing an airstrike that the worst one they've had in quite some time, even while we're trying to negotiate peace, which angered a certain nameless leader, official leader. So expect to see even more fallout. It's going to peak tomorrow. Then after that, things should start fading a little bit. We've seen tremendous amounts of protests against a certain car dealership. Expect things to start settling down a little bit, hopefully, astrologically. And really hoping, well, I have to be careful what I hope for because I have a really prominent Mars. So, you know what? I may be dead tomorrow. I may never be back. Right. Sometimes all you can do is laugh. What can I say? So, things you need to focus on to get through this period. So far, you've gotten through it. If you're watching this channel, you've gotten through this shit. So, self-reflection. Look at your personal motivations and the ways you assert control or respond to authority. I already said that. Try and healthy expression. Try to channel intense emotions into productive activities, such as physical exercise. Mars loves when you are active and you do things. So if you want to transform with Mars, Pluto Mars, hey, start that exercise program. Plus, it's also beautiful outside. I know I've been doing it. And that's part of why Fridays and Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays have gotten so hectic. I'm trying to juggle getting by public transport to a place to work out, to classes. On Friday, we have Dr. Justin over at Esoterica. He has his office hours. I'm like, Jesus, I've got videos to make. And I haven't even done my Friday love reading yet. Whoops. Guess what we're doing next? So, uh, healthy expression, physical exercise. You can also do creative pursuits if maybe you are not able to be as active as you want to be. I'm disabled. I use a walker, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So, try to avoid power struggles. I know, so much easier said than done. But be mindful of engaging in unnecessary conflicts. Is this really something you want to go to war on, to battle on? Just take a breath. And also, stop and think. Is this person you're about to argue with, are they smart enough, intelligent enough to ever get your point of view, the point you're making? If not, don't waste your time. Just, okay, you do you, boo. Because it's a waste of time. It's only going to aggravate you. Just let it go. Try to avoid power struggles unless it's something that's really important that you need to struggle and need to speak up about. So try to embrace the transformation. Transformations are often uncomfortable because you're letting go of something for something else. I just realized I experienced that this week. For the longest time, when I was waiting to get my disability and in extreme poverty, I would watch, besides RuPaul, Homestead Rescue. And I had this dream, and I put down when I did get my back pay, a deposit on some raw land in Kentucky near Daniel Boone Forest. I am a paranormal junkie. It's my guilty pleasure because Somerset, Kentucky is a real hotspot for like UFO, Bigfoot, ghosts, that whole thing. And I'd hope someday to not only have a tiny house there, but to create camping sites for weirdos like me. And I realized this week that dream's gone, but for another dream. I've been doing this all week. Everything is setting me off. But I am moving to Albania in the fall. It's a new dream, but letting go of the old. And actually, yesterday, I sold my old clunker car that wasn't even running, and it still had Kentucky plates on it. And I'm in Indiana, and the guy was like, Kentucky. And we started talking about it. And I was like, you know, letting go of one dream for another. Transformation. And that's also Pluto, Scorpio, death. And the death card in tarot, it's not about physical death, as any tarot reader will tell you, or at least not usually. It's about a transformation. And these transformations, they hurt like hell a lot of times. This may be painful, but try to embrace whatever transformation you're going through right now. Letting go of old, maybe patterns of behavior or thinking, letting go of people that are toxic, and try to embrace the change. And even though on Friday I am doing that romance reading, that is something I really want to do with tarot, with astrology, and with the books I'm writing, is really help people with turning their pain into something powerful and positive. I've lived it, which that's a story for a whole other day. But you can really turn things around. One of the things I always say, I had the stroke back in 2020, and I say it was the worst day of my life, and it was the best day of my life. Although it sure as shit didn't feel like it at first. It took about 3 years for it to start feeling like that, because I went through absolute hell to get to that point. That the stroke was only the beginning. I lost everything materially. My siblings abandoned me because they're pieces of shit. And let's just say they're two of the three who are twins, by the way, so similar chart, are on the opposite end, politically and religiously, maybe. So, you know where I'm going with that. But, and also with this Mars Pluto opposition, this is the third time it's hitting the opposition. And, because when a planet goes forward, it may hit it, and then it goes retro and crosses over it again, and then it goes forward again, and that's the third time. And that's when things are really wrapping up. The third transition in that cycle for any planet, especially something as intense as Mars and Pluto. It's going to really amplify the themes of power, control, transformation. You're going to feel it. And I would say you probably already are. Like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, Mars opposed to Pluto is going on. So, and it started back around November 3rd when we started feeling this, right before the presidential election. So, just saying, I think you can kind of draw things from there. So, and by the way, certain official leader, on a side note, uh, one of the things that a lot of astrologers, a lot of tarot readers were like, "Oh, Kamala's gonna win," and but the astrologers were like, because Trump was hitting, oh God, I said he who shall not be named, but he had a really strong uh, transition with Regulus, the star that can bring huge prominence, success, ambition, power. But here's the thing with the Regulus. It brings all these gifts of power, and prominence, unless you use it for revenge. And then it's going to take it all away. We're waiting. We're waiting for that moment. Oh, please. It's what we would call, we're hoping for a moment where that will be what we call astrology good. May not be a good thing, but it fits the astrology. We really want an astrology good moment for that. So anyway, so it started right before the election. So it will be very interesting in the next week to see what we feel or if anything happens. Sometimes transits go by and you really don't feel it. Um, if you're somebody that maybe in your natal chart, your Mars and Pluto are in opposite houses, it's business as usual for you. This is everyday shit I got to put up with. And that's one of the many reasons that you should look at your whole chart. You should be looking at not just your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, and things like that. Because there are some things like, oh, Jupiter is square um Mars or whatever, or not Mars. Ugh, I'm going brain dead right at the moment. But when I know a transit's coming up that reflects that is like my natal chart, I'm like, I'm not even gonna feel that probably, because that's how things always are. So it's good to know your whole chart. And if you do have Mars and Pluto in opposite houses, it's even more so if you're same degree for the opposition. But in Hellenistic, we also look at just the chart houses in general, because Hellenistic divides up the houses evenly in 30-degree increments. So, so if you've been using something besides whole signs and you suddenly switch to whole signs, probably going to have a personality identity crisis. That's what happened to me when I switched to whole sign. It changed some houses for some planets, but I really felt it fit. Before it was like, kind of. And then when I switched over to whole signs, I'm like, holy shit. And even at that time, I didn't know everything, how much it fit. It's through my classes with Austin that I really am seeing It's just beyond coincidence. Again and again, it hits. So, anyway, Mars and Pluto, wrap it up, girl. So, yeah, we're going to probably see some effects um, of things that started in November, the beginning of November, some kind of impact. So watch that. But on a personal level, be careful how you approach power struggles. Don't start arguments that are over stupid shit. Some things we have to fight for and argue for. Make sure it's something worthwhile and do it as much as you can with a level head. Do as I say, not as I do. Actually, if I'm kind of like, don't worry, I'll get over it. Let me get it out of my system. When you need to worry is when I get quiet and just look at you. Because I am planning the thing that will hurt you the most. Scorched earth. I am goddamn Khaleesi before she torches Westeros. Run. If I get quiet and just look at you, run. If I'm just being like, being a Karen without the racism, you'd let me work it out of my system. But y'all, when I get quiet and just look at you, so try to embrace this transformation. It doesn't feel like it right now, but transformation can really bring you something so much better. And in fact, that's what I'm writing about. I'm writing about Mars. Hello. And the cycle of Mars, which is very important and ends this whole spiritual alchemy in Pluto. So, boy, am I feeling it with my book. And just trust me, it can really make things better. I know people get tired of hearing, oh, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, yeah, fuck off. I'm sick of being strong. I want to not have to be strong, but it has made things so much better for me when I've gone through major transformations. Because if I hadn't had that stroke, I would still be in the nursing profession, doing traveling nursing, miserable as hell, digging my grave with my teeth with emotional eating, which I still do at times. After almost 60 years, I'm finally learning how to eat. But it clears the way for something better. It's going to hurt. There's going to be crazy shit probably in the next few days, but hopefully to clear and make things better. This is what happens when I just go impromptu. I ramble on. But check your anger, fight, choose your fights wisely, and embrace the transformation. Boom. So if any of this rambling nonsense resonates with you, and please God, there are a couple people who really, yeah. So anyway, if anything that this resonates with you, please let me know. And of course, like and subscribe. I get so pissed when people do that, like right at the beginning, and they're like, do this, do that. I'm like, give me the content. Give me the content, bitch. Anyway, whew, I'm punchy today. So let's see how the dust settles after this weekend. And we're still going to feel it for the next week, you know. Plus, we also have Saturn and Venus together. I always think of the different planets like people. And Saturn, the cranky old man, disciplinarian, he has a crush on Venus, but she's kind of like, ew. He's glad to be close to her, but she's kind of like, oh God. Although I have been known to petition Venus, hey, can you ask Saturn to do this? Because I have an exalted Venus. It's like, he won't listen to me. He'll listen to you because he's got a crush on you. Anyway, have a good weekend. Stay strong for the transformation. And I will see you in the next video, which needs to be my Friday Venus love reading. Talk to you later. Thank you. Bye bye.